Okay, so the other day on Twitter, I was just kind of like doom scrolling as I usually do whenever I find some free time. I just grab my phone and I doom scroll through Twitter, see what's going on. And I stumbled upon a bit of a back and forth with Nominal Naomi. Shout out to Nominal Naomi, friend of the channel. They quote tweeted this Drew person. It's so fucking crazy that pretty much every major Republican is just talking about a totally fake pet eating story. My understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody knows in the chat, my understanding is this comes out of like Ohio, if I remember correctly. It was Ohio, and like there's like some weird claims about Haitian migrants like eating people's pets and eating like ducks at like local like lakes and stuff like that, and just like really like insane shit. And apparently this isn't like true at all. Springfield, Ohio, yes. Okay, so I did kind of have that right. So Nominal Naomi quote tweets this and says, "This is just business as usual. They did the same thing with the litter boxes in elementary school classrooms." Who remembers that, chat? When like conservatives were making a huge deal about like, oh, you know, this gender nonsense is going crazy. They're putting litter boxes in classrooms for kids that identify as animals. And like in reality, what it was, if you really look into it, it's actually kind of sad. These were like emergency kits that were being put together so that, you know, heaven forbid kids get caught in a school shooting type situation. They had a place to go to the bathroom. That's what the litter boxes were for. Not because some crazy like gender shit where they're like, you know, saying kids can identify as animal gender and stuff. It was nothing like what they were saying. It was literally, hey, these are emergency supplies so that if kids are involved in a school shooting and need to use the bathroom, they can use the bathroom. Which is really, really sad that that's what things have come to, but that's a whole nother conversation. But in any case, this Jackie person responds, "It isn't fake though. A pet was eaten and the migrants were really dumped in a town that can't support them. Stop lying." Nominal Naomi says, "Source." They said literally 5 seconds on Google, and this is where it gets good. Nominal Naomi says, "Your own source says that your claims are false. The Springfield Police Department says it dealt with its fair share of rumors and misinformation, and we haven't really seen any of that." Oh shit! Oh shit! Imagine citing a source that literally proves that what you're saying is bullshit. That's so funny. But this is the latest thing that conservatives are running with. This whole like, oh, a bunch of Haitian migrants in Ohio are eating people's pets and stuff like that. And surprise, surprise, chat, Matt Walsh has a video on it. So we're going to take a look at Matt Walsh's video, see what Matt Walsh has to say on the matter. So let's just jump right in.
In early 2018, senators from both parties met with Donald Trump inside the White House. They were there to discuss the visa lottery system, which is a program that allocates visas to people from countries with historically low rates of immigration to the United States. And this is one of many government programs that's existed for decades without anyone in power asking why it exists, even though a visa lottery like this makes no sense whatsoever. The only criterion we should have when deciding who gets to enter the United States is whether admitting those people would make the United States a better country. Whether or not their country is underrepresented in the United States should have no bearing on whether a potential migrant is awarded a visa. As simple and obvious as this point may be, you rarely hear anyone say it. Certainly, you don't very often hear presidents say it. But in his meeting with the senators, Donald Trump pointed out this problem right away. Trump specifically wanted to know why we were awarding visas to people from Haiti, one of the poorest and most dysfunctional countries in the entire world. And depending on who you ask, Trump used maybe slightly more colorful language than that when he asked the question, but that was the question.
Does anybody know what slightly more, because I haven't seen these statements, what slightly more colorful language did Trump use? I'm genuinely curious. There are 2,000 Haitian refugees that have revitalized small towns in Ohio. An American woman in Columbus stole and ate someone's cat, and a black man in Canton, Ohio has been seen walking down the sidewalk holding a dead goose. And all those morphed into immigrants are swarming Springfield and eating every pet they see. It's just racism. I mean, yeah. That's typically how it works. We've seen a similar thing where, like, you know, One school shooter was apparently like trans, and now anytime there's a school shooting, they find any excuse to label the school shooter trans. Like in that most recent school shooting that happened, I'm drawing a blank at the moment where it was, but they tried to say that because this person on a Discord account that supposedly belonged to them was having conversations about trans people, that was proof that they were trans and they were like a deranged trans person going on a shooting spree. When in reality, when you actually look into the details of that, this is a person who was spewing anti-trans rhetoric on Discord. Okay, yeah, they were definitely trans. Okay, conservatives, if you say so.
And you probably remember the outrage that followed. There was an outrage cycle that lasted more than 2 weeks. Haiti's government said that Trump's comments were abhorrent. The United Nations Human Rights Office said that Donald Trump had damaged and disrupted the lives of many people. Conan O'Brien started filming his show in Haiti, during which he repeatedly blamed Haiti's collapse on the United States. Quote, "The Haitians have been dealt the worst hand in the Western Hemisphere," he said, implying that we owe them housing and health care because somehow we have done this to them. But none of the outrage addressed Trump's fundamental question. At no point did anyone in the press or the Democrat Party explain why we need to admit more Haitians into the U.S. Nobody addressed Trump's concern, which is that giving Haitians visas simply because they come from Haiti and for no other reason would dramatically lower the quality of life for American citizens. In other words, the question is, what's in it for us? And this is a question that any president should be asking. What's in it for, I know how the Haitians benefit from coming to the U.S. How do we benefit from having Haitians here? And if the answer is we don't benefit from having Haitians here, then we shouldn't be accepting.
Is that the only reason we should accept immigrants or migrants into our country? Because it benefits us somehow? Which there are proven benefits, especially in regards to like the economy and whatnot, that result from allowing immigrants into the country. But like, is that the only reason we should allowing people to immigrate to our country, because it somehow like benefits us? This is a country that like talks about how like we afford like people unique freedoms that they can't get in other parts of the world. And, this is like the melting pot where like our diversity is our strength and all that stuff. So like, I don't see what the problem is by allowing these people into the country. Like, what's the issue? Like, does there have to be a benefit to us directly in order to help people who are coming from struggling nations? I don't think so, but okay.
That many of them. It's that simple. Because as a president, you are supposed to be looking out for the well-being of your people first. Well, as a result, 2 years after the manufactured outrage over Trump's comments, lives have indeed been damaged and disrupted, as the United Nations put it. But those lives are not in Haiti. I mean, yeah, the lives in Haiti are a disaster. But again, that's not our primary concern. Our primary concern is America, not Haiti. Haiti is up to Haiti.
Charles Fighter says the USA has systematically destabilized island nations in the Caribbean for decades. So yeah, we are to blame for Haiti's political unrest, and the 100,000 Haitian refugees that have been brought into the Midwest has been fantastic for those small dying towns. I would have to look into that more to see like how like it has benefited them. Obviously, I'm not doubting what you're saying for sure. I'm just not super familiar with that specifically. But I don't see, my thing is like, I don't see how it could harm anything. I think like the only people who would trying to make the argument that it's causing any significant amount of harm are the kind of people who are just like racist and like xenophobic and shit like that, and they just don't want to allow immigrants into our country for any reason whatsoever. So I don't doubt what you're saying for sure. I don't know the specifics of it. You're welcome to share some in chat if you have some, but yeah, I'm not too familiar with it, to be honest.
Haitians have to fix Haiti. It's not up to us to fix it. And if the Haitians can't figure out how to fix their own country, well, I guess it's just going to be a mess forever until you figure out how to fix your own damn country. But now there are places.
That's not really how helping people works. You don't do it to get something out of it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. Honestly, like that's the way it should be. This is a country that always talks about like lending a helping hand to, its fellow citizens and even, people in countries abroad. And so like it's always like really silly to me to hear arguments like this, like, well, it doesn't benefit us to help these people, so why are we doing it? It's like it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to benefit us.
Places in, there are Haitians in places like Springfield, Ohio, which were overrun with Haitian immigrants overnight. And that's not hysteria. It's clearly happening. This is a report from NPR, maybe the most Democrat-aligned media outlet in existence, but even NPR cannot spin the situation in Springfield. Quote, around 2020, things in this town took an unexpected turn. Thousands of Haitian migrants fleeing violence and poverty landed in Springfield. Locals say that it felt like it happened overnight. On Sunday afternoons, you could suddenly hear Creole mass wafting through the downtown streets. Haitian restaurants started popping up. The town of around 60,000 has received some 15 to 20,000 migrants in the last 4 years, many of them from Haiti.
I don't understand how you could like read a statement like that and interpret that as like nothing about that statement sounds bad. Okay? Like when I hear that statement, like he presented that statement like his foreshadowing of like the statement he was about to read, made it sound like he was about to tell us something horrible. Like even NPR couldn't mask this as being something that wasn't bad. And then he reads it and it's like, okay, so a bunch of migrants came into a town and they started like new businesses, which could help the economy, in the area. So like, I don't understand how that's bad. Can you tell me how that's bad? That doesn't inherently sound bad. Am I wrong, chat? Am I the only one that's looking at that? I'm like, okay, like, so a bunch of migrants showed up in the area. They started new businesses in the area, and I don't get it.
So I'll say that again. A town of 60,000 people now has 20,000 migrants and have received all of them in just the last 4 years. That's a third of their population being added. This is a town that already had a poverty rate of more than twice the national average before the Haitians started moving in.
Okay, so you're talking about how they had a poverty rate in the town, like they were in a bad economic situation. And now the Haitians have come in, and as a result of the Haitians have coming in, new businesses are starting to crop up, which is an indicator that things are on an upswing. So you're not really helping your point, Matt.
It would be unsustainable even if Springfield were recruiting highly skilled, highly qualified and skilled immigrants. You can't just massively increase your population very quickly without breaking things. And things are indeed breaking in Springfield. Take a look at this data from the FBI's Crime Data Explorer. The blue line tracks the number of crimes reported in Springfield, Ohio. And you notice how it's pretty steady from 2012 to 2020. Then all of a sudden, the number of crimes surged. In fact, it more than doubles beginning in 2020 when this surge of migrants from Haiti arrives. One of those crimes was committed last August.
Wouldn't like an increase in population like automatically result in an increase in crime? I mean, you've got more people, so there's potentially going to be more crime because of the fact that there are more people. That's not necessarily indicative of like, hey, more crime is happening because these are bad people. It's just the mere fact that there's more people in general in a population that would contribute to more crime. No?
By Hermanio Joseph, a Haitian migrant who drove his minivan into a school bus, killing an 11-year-old child who was ejected from the bus. The driver apparently had a Mexican driver's license, an Ohio ID card, but no Ohio's driver's license. Obviously, he should not have been in this country.
It also mentioned any other reason for why that would be. Yeah, it doesn't even mention like by demographic, like what are the demographics of like who's committing these crimes or anything. It's just like, oh, look, it's an increase in crime. And it's like when you look at that on its face, like you could say, oh yeah, that looks pretty bad. That's not really good. But like you need to see the breakdown of like, what are the demographics of who's committing the crimes and what type of crimes are being committed, etc. Like in order to better understand the data, simply showing, hey, look, there's an increase in crime. It doesn't really tell you all that much.
Very much less driving on the road, but he was there. And for killing a child, he was only sentenced to about 10 years in prison. These kinds of stories are now commonplace in Springfield. Meanwhile, social services have been overwhelmed. The Daily Mail reports that, quote, at the community health clinic, Haitian patients rose from 115 to 1,500 between 2021 and 2023. Overwhelming services. Rocking Horse Community Health Center Chief Medical Officer Yamini Tigla said,
Camel Spider says white races are committing crimes against immigrants. So yeah, crime is up, but by and large, the Haitians are the victims. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much what I would expect, honestly.
I said that language barriers meant a 15-minute consult took up to 45 minutes. We lost productivity. We had a huge burnout of staff, she said. The clinic hired 6 Haitian translators, but its translation budget blew out from $43,000 in 2020 to $436,000, which Tigala said was unsustainable. Now, even with all this spending, Haitians are still terrorizing locals in Springfield. Here's one woman at a city council meeting explaining that the town's just no longer safe for her to live in. Watch.
Noel? Thank you.
I live at 426 Northwestern Avenue. Miss Skinner, who I'm not trying to put on the spot, is my neighbor.
Just talk to me, ma'am. Thank you so much.
And I'm done with what I'm seeing. It is so unsafe in my neighborhood anymore. I have the homeless that were trying to camp out, and I have made concessions with them, and I try to help them the best I can to keep them from trying to squat on my property. But it is so unsafe. I have men that cannot speak English in my front yard screaming at me, throwing mattresses in my front yard, throwing trash in my front yard. And I can't. Look at me, I weigh 95 pounds. I couldn't defend myself if I had to. My husband is elderly, and last night, after living in this home for 45 years, he said, Noel, guess what? It's time to pack up and move. He said, we can't do this anymore. He said, it's killing both of us mentally. I don't understand what you expect of us as citizens. I mean, I understand they're here under temporary protected status, and you're protecting them, and I understand that our city services are overwhelmed and understaffed. But who's protecting us? If we're protecting them, who's protecting me? I want out of this town. I am sorry. Please give me a reason to stay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So if you could watch a clip like that and your takeaway is that, oh, that woman's a bigot, that racist white bigot.
Yeah, exactly. I hate to be that guy, but one anecdotal story. I mean, it's literally that. I mean, and who knows what the motivation was behind that person telling that story. It could be a complete fabrication. She could be telling the truth, that's what she experienced. It could be somebody who's just, a bigoted person and doesn't want these Haitian people in their town. We don't know what the motives of this person are. It's just one story that he's using to back up his statements. You know what I mean?
It does. If that's your takeaway, then you're a very stupid person and a bad person and a bad American. That's it. I just have no respect for you as a human being. If that is your reaction.
That's okay, Matt. The feeling's mutual.
To that woman, who is it unreasonable? She just wants her community to be safe. And it is being actively destroyed. They are bringing people in to destroy it by the busload every year. And she's saying, can you not do this? I live here with my family. You're making it dangerous to live here. Why should Haitians be I live in Ohio.
Shows in the chat says Matt Walsh needs a girlfriend. I'm pretty sure he would want a very, very young girlfriend, because wasn't he like one of the people who was trying to advocate for like lowering like the age of consent or something like that? And wasn't he the one that was like talking about how like young girls who are teenagers are at like prime like breeding age or something along those lines? I'm pretty sure that was him, right? Oh, just noticed Matt took down his creepy baby doll plushie, the Sweet Baby Gang plushie. Oh yeah, he used to have one in the background, right?
Yo, why should I have to deal with the fact that with Haitian
Matt Walsh needs a goth mommy? Yo, true, a goth mommy could fix Matt Walsh. If you are a good goth mommy, you can fix Matt Walsh, okay?
Criminals. Why should that be my problem?
Yeah, primary breeding age. That was the phrase he used.
In Springfield, Ohio. That's our question. And I mean, if you are at all a smart, empathetic person and a good American, you understand her exasperation. Springfield didn't vote for this. It's one of the most pro-Trump areas in the entire country, but no one can escape the consequences of mass migration. That's the whole point of it.
Trust me, even the power of goth titties can't save Matt Walsh. Goddamn.
The Biden-Harris administration.
Every goth woman in my chat is like, no, I don't want to. I don't blame you, honestly. I don't blame you.
Looks at this and they see a success story. There's no outrage among the left as communities like this are destroyed. They don't care, even as American citizens, including children, are killed. In fact, it's not just human beings who are being murdered as a result.
Oh, okay, here we go. This is where he's getting to the they're eating our pets bit.
Of this migrant
Keep
surge.
in mind, a story that's already been debunked at this point.
In Springfield, there are now reports on social media that Haitians are eating...
Reports on social media. Remember, we read a snippet from an article before where law enforcement literally said this is not happening. We've seen no instances of this actually happening.
People's cats. So residents at city council meetings are also complaining that that, as well as Haitians are eating ducks on the side of the road. This is a thing that's apparently happening now in the United States of America. Here, this is from just a week ago. Watch.
I think it's like kind of odd that like a guy like me has to come out from doing what I do on a daily basis to have fun because I see what's going on in these streets and I see you guys just sitting up there in them comfy chairs and suits and I'm getting out here every day and I'm broadcasting this and you guys are just sitting up there in suits or something. Like I really challenge you guys to get out here and do something. These Haitians are running into trash cans. They're running into buildings. They're running into... they flipping cars in the middle of the street. And I don't know how, like, y'all can be comfortable with this. Like, I don't know, like, who's getting paid from this. I honestly feel like someone's getting paid from it in the background. You got a bunch of people on a bus getting dropped off at a gas station to come down here. I know a single mom that FaceTimed me this morning at the welfare office that really need something. And it's nothing but immigrants over there. And I don't even want to like seem like I'm coming down on the immigrants because it's the people that's bringing them down here. Because wherever they're at, that's what they're used to, bro. They're in the park grabbing up ducks by their neck and cutting their head off and walking off with them and eating them like.
So the man goes on to note that there are plenty of police in Springfield. It's easy to get a traffic ticket, but apparently it's not easy to round up and deport the Haitians who are eating animals and crashing their cars into children.
Which, like I said, we already read an article that literally said that wasn't true. So I think this is a good place to wrap this up. This is just like the insane kind of bullshit that like conservatives are pushing now. We see them push these crazy like stories that are completely false all the time. And this is just the latest one. Haitians are coming into our country and they are eating your pets and our animals, chat. I'm at a loss for words how anybody believes this shit and how like a quick Google search you can easily debunk all of this nonsense. But somehow people just buy into this crap. It's so bizarre.